so happy. Oh, wow. This is really overwhelming. um, okay, great. Well, I have some questions for you to start. I'm already feel like I'm going to cry. The first one is raise your hand if you think that everyone deserves love. I know, me too. Isn't that so nice? Okay, put your hands down. This is a harder question. And this one is raise your hand if you've loved everyone that you've ever met in your life. Yeah, me either. And I didn't ask you that to roast you, I promise. Um, I asked because that gap that we all just observed between what we know, like capital K, know, everyone really deserves this, and our opinions and the way that we act is my favorite place because it has so much potential. And in my life, it's been the window into every bit of wisdom I've ever learned. And every insight I've had and every healing that I've experienced has come from noticing that gap. And there's some more stuff you need to know about it to really understand how that happened for me. The first thing is a little scientific thingy called cognitive dissonance, which you've probably heard people talk about it a lot. Cognitive dissonance is the tension that exists when you try and hold two conflicting beliefs at the same time. So think about like any time that you use the word unless. Everyone deserves love unless they hurt me. I'm not going to love that person. Or murder is always wrong unless someone commits a crime, then we have the death penalty. There are all these ways that we exist in this conflicting space and we never pay attention to it. We all just kind of ignore it. And I think that's true for a lot of us. If you're lucky enough like me, your parents raised you with these like beautiful ideals about the world and how you should treat people. And then along the way, people came in and sort of like started putting conditions on top of that, the unless or the except part of it. And a lot of us just live like that and we don't ever question it. And I did that for a really long time. And the way that it affected me most was actually in my romantic relationships. So I believed, of course, in sort of capital K no way, that love is unconditional and is abundant and is for everyone. But in a more real way, in a more little o opinion way, I had a very specific set of conditions that you needed to meet for me to love you. And I had great intentions with that. I thought it was going to keep me from getting hurt. And it was going to mean that everyone who I was with in a relationship would be kind to me because I told them that's what they had to do if they wanted to get my love. And I thought they would just do that and that would be great. And that's not what happened at all. Instead, I sort of attached to whoever was accessible or I felt a little butterfly for. And then I was like, now I'm going to make you do the thing that will allow me to love you. And it'll be great. And it wasn't great because they didn't do the thing I wanted them to do. And because I wasn't in a loving place, I didn't leave, which would have been the loving thing to do. I was like, I got to stay and convince them to be good so that I can love them because I want to feel this love so bad. And it kept not working for me. So I went through that cycle a couple of times. And eventually, I read a book called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle and came across the idea that maybe love is not this thing that you give or you get when a certain set of conditions is met. It's instead a thing that really is unconditional. And the reason it can be that way is because you make it yourself, because it comes from you entirely. And I honed in on that through my meditation practice because I found love meditation or loving kindness meditation. And when I sat in that meditation and I cultivated love myself and sent it to everyone, to the world, I proved to myself that I actually didn't need anyone to do anything in order for me to feel love. I could just sit down and do it. And it was really that simple. No one came to me while I sat on my meditation cushion and was really nice to me and treated me well and made me feel happy. And then I felt my love in my love meditation. No, I just did it. And that was it. And it was really that easy. And so I started to close that gap, right? Between how what I knew, capital K knew, and how I was acting. And the world started to like fall into alignment with that as well. So I stopped doing the cycle of finding people and trying to make them be the way I wanted to for a while. And eventually I decided, okay, like I know where love comes from now. I'm gonna go out there and try it again. And I met my fiance who's here today. And I've never had to convince him to do anything for me ever. It's always just been love. Like it just is that. And there's no like making of anyone doing anything. It just is the experience. And he is my perfect mirror of that. And, and so I hope that you can find your own gap and maybe start to close it even a little bit. And you might find out that you can just love everyone, apparently.